On our 21st Tony special show. Delighted to have back a friend of the neighborhood, a man who wrote for many years for the New York Daily News, and now he's a feature writer and theater critic for New York Theater Guide. Plus, you can read him in Newsday too and a bunch of other places. He's Joe Dziemianowicz. Looking great, Joe. How are you?
Very good. Thanks very much.
And Joe is joining us to talk about one particular category of this year's Tony Awards, featured actor in a play. Going to read them out to you. It's
Good.
Christopher Abbott in Death of a Salesman, Danny Burston in Marjorie Prime, Brandon J. Durden in Waiting for Godot, Alden Ehrenreich in Becky Shaw, Ruben Santiago Hudson in Joe Turner's Come and Gone, and the one and only John Boy Richard Thomas in The Ballusters. Joe, welcome back, and what are your thoughts on the category?
Well, I think the fact that I wanted to talk about this category, you could tell, with six nominees, you could see it was a deep talent pool. I think it's the only acting category with six nominations. I think there are a couple design categories that have six as opposed to the typical five. And I feel strongly that this is a category. I think there's going to be a lot of tight races. I think they'll over the night, but I think that in this category, I think the actor who will win should win, and that's Alden Ehrenreich from Becky Shaw.
What makes him
Um,
special? Why him?
well, he's a movie actor. I think a lot of people will know him from movies like Hail Caesar and more recently Weapons. And he's making his Broadway debut in the Broadway premiere, but it was ultimately a revival of Becky Shaw, Gina Gianfrido's play about bad behavior ultimately. And he turns out is really great at bad behavior. He plays a man named Max who lives to the max to be an equal opportunity offender. He's a financial whiz, but he's also beneath the bullying exterior is just riddled with his own insecurities based on his own past, and that becomes clear throughout the course of the play. It's a really terrific revival, and he's really, really great in this part. I had seen this the first time around when it ran off Broadway, and the play didn't hit it quite as hard. I think this is, quite frankly, it's a perfect cast, and in a perfect cast, he really stands out. So it's kind of great when you have somebody who's established, from screen, who seems to settle into stage just pretty seamlessly. Reading stories and review profiles of him, he's saying he sort of felt like he was learning every night, and it felt like, oh golly, the night that I saw you, you kind of aced it. So my enthusiasm for him doesn't detract from the other actors at all. I mean, Christopher Abbott is giving a terrific performance as Biff, in a particularly, it could be a tricky role in Death of a Salesman. And he's up against two premier actors, Nathan Lane and Laurie Metcalf, and that he manages to really find his own Biff is quite amazing. The other, Danny Burstein, turning in yet another great performance in Marjorie Prime as a dutiful husband and son-in-law in sort of a look into sort of an unsettling future and the future of AI and the place of AI in that. Who else do we have in that? Ruben Santiago Hudson as Bynum in Joe Turner's Come and Gone. Sort of Bynum, I think people who've seen this show before, it's been on Broadway not so long ago, the Conjure Man, and he really has a way with August Wilson's language. He's terrific too. I skipped over, I believe, Brandon J. Durden in Waiting for Godot. I'll say it, Godot, as Pazzo, completely domineering Pazzo. But as we know, as we watch the play, tables are turned. He's really terrific. He's always good on stage. And Richard Thomas, I mean, here's an actor who, as you say, you remember him like I do as John Boy, but he's been around and working steadily, working strongly, playing sort of in the Ballusters, the keeper of tradition in this neighborhood, who wants his picture perfect view and nothing to obstruct it, and everything that comes with a picture perfect view. And as you might expect, it gets deeper than just what the leaves on the trees, but the people that we see. It's a really interesting performance. But again, I think Alden Ehrenreich is going to walk home with a Tony.
Well, you've made that point with picture perfect clarity, Joe Dziemianowicz, but I have another quick question or two for you before we let you go. So I am kind of curious, what are one or two of the other plays or musicals on or off Broadway that you saw this past season that are your absolute favorite?
Yeah, I think two that have kind of stayed in my head buzzing. Two musicals, one on Broadway, one off, for completely different reasons. Schmigadoon, a show that was on a musical from the TV show, and the TV show I didn't finish the first season. I didn't, and then when I got to the theater and saw Schmigadoon on stage, it works perfectly. And this is an homage to the Golden Age musical. I was talking to a friend about it the other night, a fellow critic, and she put it perfectly. She said, "No notes," and that's how I feel about that show. The other show that I really liked was an off-Broadway musical called Mexodus. It was sort of about a lesser-known underground railroad. Completely different. It's everything Schmigadoon is not. If that's in celebration of the Golden Age musical, this is a sort of this very experimental piece, hip hop musical that finds its own rhythm, finds its own musicality, and it's really, really interesting piece.
So, one last question though. Speaking of
Yeah,
interesting pieces, Joe Dziemianowicz, what was the very first show that you ever, either on Broadway or just ever, live show that you
yeah.
recorded? Yeah.
My first Broadway show was 1979. It was the Grand Tour with Joel Grey. I don't know that it turned out to be a giant hit, but at that point, I sort of had already fallen for theater and had done high school theater, as goofy as that is. But that is everybody has their first, and that was my first, so it has a special place for me.
Well, you have a special place for us, Joe, and you always take a grand tour with us of the Tony. Can I do more segues?
There
But
you
I
go.
do. I want to remind people to read you, most especially in New York Theater Guide. Look for Joe Dziemianowicz. Don't make me spell it. It's Dziemia,
Yeah,
but you'll find
something
just
like that.
the guy at New York Theater Guide. Joe, I
Yeah,
wish you a very, very happy end of season. And
yeah.
Brandon,
Have fun at the Tonys.
thank you,
Yeah.
man. You too.
Thanks. Bye, Dave.